Well, today is Thursday, April 10th, 2025. And, we're dealing with a pretty big economic event right now.
Yeah.
Trump's 145% tariff on imports from China.
Huge.
It's kicking in. And you're probably feeling it already.
Oh, yeah.
If you've bought anything lately or just kind of looked at the markets, things are a
That's
little
low.
volatile. Yeah, a little shaky.
Oh, yeah.
I think, especially for small retailers, this is
tough.
really, really tough. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. So today we want to do kind of deep dive into how businesses can adapt to a shock like this. Like, how can you even think about
Yeah.
maneuvering when something this big happens?
Yeah.
So we're going to be looking at The Innovator's Dilemma, a book by Clayton M. Christensen.
Oh, I love that book.
I think, I know Tim Cook is a big fan.
Big fan, yes.
Big fan, yeah. So we're going to be looking at today's economic kind of shock through the lens of business innovation. So
it's fascinating because you're right. Like one of the core ideas in the Innovator's Dilemma is that successful companies, they can be completely blindsided by these disruptive forces.
right
And I mean, this tariff,
is a great example.
it's a prime example. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
And it requires them to, they can't just make small changes. They have to fundamentally shift what they're doing.
Absolutely. And one of Christensen's key points is, and I think this is, super relevant to what we're seeing right now, is that companies have to be willing to adapt and invest in new areas, new technologies, new markets even. If you're too focused on your existing customers and what you're already doing,
Yeah.
you can easily miss the boat,
Yeah.
It's
like the classic example I always think is like Kodak.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they basically owned film photography.
Right.
And then, boom, digital
cameras, yeah.
came out and they did not adapt.
They did not adapt. Well, yeah. I mean, this tariff is, we're living it right now, but it
Yeah.
really does feel
Like a Kodak moment.
like a Kodak moment. That's a good way to put it. And you're already seeing the consequences, right?
Yeah, I mean, Amazon sellers are talking about.
Oh, yeah. Supply chain disruptions are huge.
Huge, yeah. I saw something about iPhone prices.
Yeah, those could go up $300-$400.
Yeah, it could be crazy. So Christensen's framework.
This is where it's so helpful
Yeah.
because what he talks about is businesses need to find ways to pivot.
Yeah.
You think about, okay, maybe we need to start bringing manufacturing back to the U.S.
Oh, reshoring.
Reshoring, right. Or looking
Yeah.
for different suppliers, maybe outside of China,
Yeah.
diversifying. And that's not easy.
Oh,
These are big shifts and they can be risky.
yeah. And you might not see a profit right away.
Absolutely. And you got to be willing to take some risks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see how the markets are reacting today.
Yeah.
I know the S&P 500 is down
About 4%, something like that.
4%.
Yeah. And that's after the Dow jumped almost 8% yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was a big rally.
So things are moving up and down a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot of volatility.
It's volatile. Yeah.
And I think the thing that's really important to remember is this impact isn't going to be the same for everybody, right?
Yeah.
You think about a company like Walmart.
Right.
They have the scale. They can probably absorb some of these costs, but smaller businesses, they don't have that luxury. So they're going to have to raise prices.
Yeah.
And that means, you and me, we're going to feel it.
Yeah, you're going to go to the store and you're going to see prices higher on everything.
Everything, yeah. Electronics, produce, you name it.
You name it.
Yeah. I mean, some analysts are even saying this could add up to an extra $1,000 a year.
$1,000 a year.
Yeah, for the average person.
Whoa. That's
Yeah, I mean, it's not a small thing.
not small at all. And then on top of that, there's still a pretty decent chance of a recession.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of economists are putting the risk at around 60%.
60%. That's huge.
It's huge. And it really just underlines how important it is for businesses to adapt,
Yeah. Yeah.
to innovate.
Okay, so how do you take this idea of innovation
Yeah.
and actually apply it right now? I mean,
Yeah.
what are companies doing?
Well, you're starting to see a lot of companies looking at AI.
Okay, so artificial
Yeah,
intelligence.
exactly. Using it to try to make their supply chains more efficient.
Oh, okay.
And then there's also a big push to diversify suppliers.
Like finding suppliers that aren't affected by the tariffs.
Exactly. I mean, India is getting a lot of attention right now.
India. Okay.
Yeah, because they're not subject to these tariffs.
Right.
But of course, it's not a simple switch, right? There are challenges.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say, wouldn't labor costs be a lot higher in a place like India?
Potentially, yeah. So there are trade-offs.
Yeah.
It's not an easy solution, but it's an example of the kind of thinking that companies need to be doing,
Right.
Yeah. And this is why I think it's so interesting that Tim Cook, right, he's the CEO of Apple.
One of the biggest companies in the world.
Exactly. And they've been hit by these tariffs, too.
Yeah, I mean, their market cap is down, what, like $638 billion?
Something like that.
A huge number.
Yeah, I mean, it's astronomical. But what's interesting is what Cook is doing about it.
Yeah.
He's been really proactive about diversifying Apple's supply chain.
Okay.
Moving production to places like India and Vietnam.
Right.
And that's exactly what Christensen is talking about in The Innovator's Dilemma.
Yeah, it's adapting.
It's adapting to the changing landscape.
Nice.
And even with those efforts, we're still seeing smaller companies really struggling.
Yeah, it's a tough environment.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I think Cook's perspective just really underscores how in this new reality with these tariffs,
Yeah.
innovation,
It's
not just about, creating cool new products anymore. It's
Right.
about survival.
Yeah, that's a great point. So to wrap things up, I think the big takeaway today is that this 145% tariff on Chinese imports,
It's a game changer.
it's a game changer.
It's a huge disruption.
Yeah.
And it's forcing businesses to think differently.
Yeah, and I think if you're listening to this, you're probably interested in how the economy and tech kind of play together.
Absolutely.
And this is a prime example of that. So I think The Innovator's Dilemma,
It's a great book for this moment.
it's a great lens for understanding what's happening right now.
Yeah, it really helps you make sense of it all. So we've got this 145% tariff, and, businesses are having to figure out how to adapt.
Yeah.
And what Christensen's work shows us is that this kind of shock, it's really hard for established players.
Yeah.
Because they're so used to doing things a certain way.
Right, yeah.
But they have to be willing to change
Yeah.
and to innovate.
Totally. So as you're thinking about all of this, and we talked about a lot of challenges today.
Yeah, a lot of challenges.
I'd like to leave you with a thought, given everything that we've talked about.
Yeah.
How do you think the way we make and sell goods,
Oh, that's interesting.
how do you think that's going to change
Yeah.
in the next couple of years?
Yeah.
What new opportunities might come out of this disruption?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
To see what happens.
All right. That's it for today. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
I'll catch you next time.
See ya.